The silence within the black pines. The rain lashed against the windshield like thousands of tiny angry needles. Highway 101, winding through the dense, ancient forests of Washington state, was swallowed by a thick fog. The headlights carved out only a few feet of visibility in the crushing darkness. David Harper gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white. His goal was simple: escape. Escape the deafening noise of the city, the messy divorce proceedings, and the suffocating label of failed writer that hung over him. He had rented an old wooden cabin named Blackwood on the edge of a remote lake for 3 weeks. No internet, no neighbors, just nature and silence. But David didn't yet know that in these woods, nature was not the only thing waiting. It was nearly 1 a.m. when he arrived. The cabin looked far more ancient and menacing than it had in the pictures. 2 stories tall with a sharp A-frame roof, its blackened timber walls looked like the maw of a giant beast waiting in the dark. David stepped out of the car. The forest was so silent that the sound of his own breathing felt as loud as a roar. Inside, the air smelled of mold and old paper. When he flicked the switch, a dim yellow bulb illuminated dancing dust motes. The walls were adorned with peculiar antique hunting photos and taxidermied deer heads. The glass eyes of the deer seemed to follow him, shimmering with a wet, lifelike glint. The first night passed quietly, save for the howling wind and the groaning of settling wood. The true horror began on the second day. David was sitting by the fireplace, attempting to draft his new novel. Outside, the rain poured relentlessly. Suddenly, a sound came from the kitchen, tap-tap, like a fingernail against glass. David froze. Just the wind, he told himself. But the sound came again. More rhythmic this time. Tap, 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 tap. He stood up and walked to the kitchen. The window faced the pitch-black void of the woods. He leaned in, trying to see out, but saw only his own pale reflection. "Who's there?" he shouted, his voice trembling slightly. Instead of an answer, a strange, long whistle echoed from the trees. It wasn't a bird. It sounded human, but unnaturally loud and cold. David quickly drew the curtains and locked every door. He couldn't sleep that night. As he lay in bed, he could swear he heard someone whispering his name from the walls. "David! Open the door, David!" On the 3rd day, David decided to check the basement, hoping to find a generator or perhaps a weapon. The basement was damp and freezing. In the corner sat an old trunk. Inside, he found a leather-bound diary from 1974. It belonged to the man who built the cabin, Arthur Blackhill. David began to read. The early entries were mundane hunting logs, but the final pages descended into madness. "They mimic. They learn your voice. They eat your memories. I saw my wife in the woods today, but she has been dead for 5 years. She called to me, 'Do not open the door, Arthur. Whatever happens, do not open the door.'" The diary ended there. The final page was torn out, splattered with dried blood. That evening, the fog descended. It was so thick that the world beyond the window ceased to exist. Around 2:30 a.m., the lights flickered and died. The cabin was plunged into absolute darkness. David fumbled for his phone and turned on the flashlight. Then the front door knocked. It wasn't a tap this time. It was a heavy, demanding pound. Thud, thud, thud. David's heart hammered against his ribs. He grabbed the heavy iron poker from the fireplace. "Go away, I have a gun," he lied, screaming at the door. Silence. Then the most terrifying sound he had ever heard. From behind the door came his own voice, like a tape recording, but distorted and raspy. "Go away. I have a gun, the entity repeated, mimicking David's inflection perfectly. Then another voice spoke. It was his wife, Sarah. David, please, open the door. I'm lost. It's so cold out here, Sarah sobbed. The voice was so real, so full of pain that David hesitated. Sarah? Did she come to find me? He reached for the doorknob, but Arthur Blackhill's warning flashed in his mind. They learn your voice. Sarah? David whispered. Yes, honey, it's me. Please, let me in, the voice pleaded. Where did we last see each other? David asked, testing her. Silence. A long, heavy silence. Then the voice changed. It wasn't crying anymore. It was laughing. A low, unnatural, inhuman chuckle. You will open it anyway, David. We are all coming inside. Suddenly, the windows shattered inward. Freezing wind and fog rushed into the room. David scrambled up the stairs to the second floor. As he ran, he heard heavy footsteps below in the living room. Not one person, many things had entered. They were speaking, but the words were nonsense, a chaotic collage of phrases David had said throughout his life. Hello, do you want coffee? I love you, damn it! David burst into the bedroom and barricaded the door with a heavy wardrobe. He thought about jumping from the window, but when he looked down, he saw dozens of shadowy figures standing in the fog. They were staring up at the house. They had no faces, just smooth, pale skin. The bedroom doorknob turned slowly. The wardrobe began to slide. David backed into the corner, squeezing his eyes shut. He knew this was the end. But then everything stopped. The voices ceased. The wind died down. David opened his eyes. It was morning. Grey light filtered through the window. Disbelieving that he was still alive, he pushed the wardrobe aside and opened the door. The house was empty. No broken glass. Everything was in its place. Even the windows downstairs were intact. Was it a nightmare? A hallucination caused by stress? David didn't pack. He grabbed his car keys and ran. He jumped into his vehicle, ignited the engine, and floored the gas pedal, tearing down the dirt road. After an hour of driving, he finally hit the main highway. The sun broke through the clouds, burning away the fog. David exhaled, tears of relief stinging his eyes. He had escaped. He was back in civilization. He pulled into the first gas station he saw. He needed hot coffee and human contact. He walked into the convenience store. The clerk, an elderly man, smiled at him. Welcome. Road's okay out there. Yeah, thanks. Just a coffee, please, David said, his voice raspy. He reached for his wallet to pay. Suddenly, his phone buzzed. It was a text message from his wife, Sarah. The message read, David, where are you? We are looking for you. The police found your car at the bottom of the lake near the Blackwood cabin. They found your body. The phone slipped from David's hand and clattered to the floor. He slowly looked up at the clerk. The smile on the old man's face hadn't changed, but his eyes were glass, just like the taxidermy deer. Coffee is ready, David, the clerk said. But the voice wasn't the old man's. It was David's own voice. David turned around. Through the glass doors of the shop, he didn't see the gas pumps or the highway. He saw the interior of the old wooden cabin. He was standing in the living room. He had never left the house. His soul had already become part of the forest. David tried to scream, but only the hollow whistle of the wind came from his mouth. He had become an echo of the evil in the woods. The end. The forest settled back into silence. On Highway 101, the rain continued to fall, washing the road clean for the next traveler.